Welcome to the Fishbowl Radio, everybody. My name is Chief here, and I'll be doing the show solo tonight. Juicy has night off. So we're talking about LSU women's basketball versus Oklahoma. And, it's made national headlines, making our way up to the big national news outlets that South Carolina suspended the DJ for playing a song that was about Flau'jae Johnson's late father that was made by it. So, as a way of trolling LSU with South Carolina defeating them uh, last week on last Friday, and then they ended up beating Texas A&M. So that's going to be one of the things that we're going to be looking forward to here as we go look through this schedule and see how everything kind of splices up and everything else here. So I know we're going to talk about the DJ thing, and we're going to also talk about LSU men's basketball as well. And you know, just to see like LSU men's basketball ain't having a great conference run so far. So it's going to be just kind of curious to see what's going to happen with them there if they can maybe get it together as everybody making a late push for March. And also, in addition to all this here, we're going to have to talk about LSU Softball a little bit as they basically are ranked in all the top four polling things here. The lowest rank I think they have is 13 so far, but y'all know how I am about preseason polls. I really don't care too much about them too much. I don't think they should be ranking teams anyway before the season starts. Give me at least a 4 weeks of just playing ball and to see who we all think is a top 25 team in the country. So let's get down to business here. Let's start talking about this South Carolina DJ since it is making national headlines. I feel the need to talk about that here on this channel and think about this here. So let's talk about it. So late in the game, it was used. The song was used as a troll for South Carolina to troll LSU for beating them. And y'all know the history with LSU and South Carolina. They are at this point with women's basketball. This is South Carolina's biggest sport basically right now. Women's basketball, not defending national champions. South Carolina is 20-1 as of the time of this recording as well. And LSU, they lost one game as well themselves here. So in that game, LSU shot. Um, I didn't think LSU was gonna maybe not win this one here because it's just the recent history here that they've been a Dawn Staley has been a thorn in LSU's side here, so it's been really rough. That second quarter with LSU was really the difference in the game in the third period as well. That in that getting 12 to 8, 18 to 11, that will lose you a game every single time basically here. But shooting 29.9% from the floor. LSU shot the ball 77 times, only made 23. South Carolina, they made the same amount of shots from the floor. South Carolina took 62 shots, though. Three pointers. LSU was a little bit better at 3-point line. And LSU was shooting with more efficiency at the free throw line. Uh, so that is something that we're going to look at here. So 77.8% free throw, 69.2% free throw. So that is something we're going to look at here when we get later on into the get a schedule here. So LSU did shoot better from the free throw line, but only had 9 attempts, and that is a big. And compared to South Carolina's 26 attempts here, even if you're not shooting that great, that 18 field free throws made to seven. That, like I said, it's a stat that's overlooked in college basketball in general here with the free throw line. Getting there a lot is a very good opportunity here. Offensive rebounds. LSU did very well on the glass. 28 offensive rebounds in this game for the Tigers here. So that is something to look forward to when they do play South Carolina again, possibly in the NCAA tournament here or SEC tournament more likely or so as we get through that stage there. So if LSU is able to dominate the glass like they did in that last game against South Carolina, it does bode very well for them going forward here. They did win against Texas A&M. Of course, they shot a little bit better, 31.9%. The Texas A&M 31.4% from the 3-point line. A&M was a little bit better, shooting 6 of 21. Tigers were 3 of 20, and A&M 28.6%. Tigers 15%. But that's just like the free throw. LSU was a little bit better getting to the free throw line here in that game here. I mean, more accurate, I should say. A&M did shoot one more free throw. So, but looking ahead to this week's schedule here, you got on Thursday you got Oklahoma, and then on Sunday you got Mississippi State here. So, kind of looking forward to these two games here. I think the Tigers win both these games here. I think that LSU really here. I think they'll win against the number 19 RPI here. They did pick up wins against Tennessee and Vanderbilt earlier in the year here as well. So that is looking good for LSU in that regard there. So as we go deeper into this season here, LSU looking really good to make the NCAA tournament right now. I don't see any problems with that. They're even under the Kim Mulkey era has been pretty good for them to make the NCAA tournament. I'd be very shocked if you didn't see them dancing in March whenever it comes down to do that there. So looking ahead, you got Missouri and Tennessee right here as well, rematch with Tennessee. They get them at home this time. So that's going to be good news for the Tigers there on a Sunday game, 18. Then you got number 5 Texas coming in. So I mean, number 5, they go into number 5 Texas, excuse me. And then you got Georgia. Then you got 2 away games with Kentucky and Alabama. Then you got a last homestand against Ole Miss to wrap up the regular season Sunday, March 2nd. So, with all that there, I think they win both these games here. And I think that's the way that it's going to have to go forward here. So, look, now we talk about the good here. They've been doing very good LSU this year. I mean, only one loss in the year. It's very hard to bet against them. I mean, they're about as well as they were doing during their national championship run with Angel Reese and a company there. So, in terms of record and looking at that kind of stuff there. So, like I said, there's always room for teams to improve and stuff here if you can see it happen here. So, let's see. Looking at LSU men's here, we're going to switch gears and talk about LSU men's basketball here, real quick here. McMahon just hasn't really had that great success here in the SEC here. They do have that one win in conference here, but it's been pretty bad. So that win came against Arkansas, and then you got losses to A&M and Alabama. Then you got the number 1 ranked team Auburn coming to town tomorrow, so that's gonna be another loss, but at least they get them at home. It's gonna be a really big game for them. Then they got Texas, who also Texas is pretty good this year as well. Here 14-6, RPI 71. If you're under like Texas is gonna be probably one of them at large trying to fight for instead of a bubble berth basically. So but Texas is gonna benefit from playing in the SEC this year. So that's going to be a very good thing for them. They got Georgia, then Ole Miss. That's their next 4 games here for LSU. But looking at they shot the last 2 games, LSU here. So let's go back to Texas A&M. Pull that up here real quick here. A&M shot 42.6% from the floor. LSU was 36.2. A&M just beat them at 3-point line, 7 of 22. LSU was 7 of 29. A&M had a higher percentage there. Like I said, getting to the free throw line is a very important thing, and it came up in this game too. Three more points that A&M got over. I mean, not 3 more points. My bad. I'm crazy right now. LSU did better at the free throw line there, 16 of 18. A&M was 9 of 21. But where LSU messed up at was in the putback category. Offensive rebounds are good for second chance points, and that came to play in that Texas A&M game. A&M getting 14 offensive rebounds to LSU 6 here. And turnovers, of course, LSU turned the ball over 18 times. A&M didn't turn the ball over as much. They only had 9 times, and they ended up losing that game 68-57 here. Then you go to on the road to Alabama. Alabama shot 44.3% from the floor. LSU 39.4%. Alabama has 7 threes. LSU 3 threes they had, so 13% shooting 3 of 23. Not a good stat you want to look at there. Like you want to shoot around 30% from 3-point line. That's a good number to look at here if you're going to look at 3-point shooting. And LSU just didn't have it in the game against Alabama. So offensive rebounds, again, LSU did good. The second chance points here. One of my criteria is you want to shoot about 30% from the floor. I mean, LSU is one of the worst shooting teams in the Power Four. That is just a straight up fact here for LSU men's basketball here. And that's got to improve if they ever want to have a chance to run for an SEC title in the next month or so. So when we get down to it. So when you get to March, they're going to shoot better from the floor. That's just what it comes down to here because these 39% shooting, like you want to be at 40, like a 44 or 45% when you're down that close to the bucket and stuff. So I think they're not really taking that many good shot opportunities that they get, and they might just be throwing it up in the air because when you shoot the ball 71 times, if you make 40% of like 45% of those, you're gonna be a very tough team to beat. But just shooting the ball a lot, throwing up prayers ain't gonna help you too much there. But that's the way it is. So if you want a prediction from me for these next two games, I got them dropping against Auburn. I just don't see Auburn losing this game here, to be honest. I'm sorry, Tiger fans. It's just not looking that way for LSU this year. Texas, they have a shot against Texas. I will say that. I do think LSU does. I think they're going to out rebound Texas in this one here. But comparing the RPI of Arkansas, which is their only conference win, and Texas is kind of in that mid ground area there. So I don't really. It's kind of tough to say, but I think they will drop it to Texas too, unless they prove me wrong. So I like looking at the predictor. Let's see what the predictor has to say. I think they drop both those games. Let's see predicted results. It'll probably have them dropping Auburn. I would be shocked if it had them winning Auburn because it is. Let's see. Wait. Where were we at? Yeah, it's got them dropping Auburn, Texas, Georgia. It has them losing every single game in the SEC except for a win against South Carolina, which South Carolina, they're at 500 right now against Division One teams. So that makes sense there. I would agree with them winning that one there too, right as of right now as it sits there. It's got them losing to Arkansas once they go back on the road over there. But see John Calipari and company just to see what's going on there. So look, that's the way it's looking in this situation here, guys. As far as the women's and men, just to give you all an update about what's going on here with LSU women's and men's basketball here. Back to the DJ thing, I think she should have got, a little bit more of a suspension because it was very unclassy to me to do that kind of thing there. And uh, we'll see here. Um, and Juicy is supposed to be sending us uh some stuff in so y'all can hear what he has to say here. He's supposed to. Uh but we'll see here. I did send him some questions and stuff that I wanted to ask y'all just to kind of see what happens there. Now, let's talk about we're going to talk about some softball a little bit here. So, not much here with LSU and softball here. They're really I mean, it's a brand new season. They're going to kick off in about a week from now. Um let's see here. I wonder if I'm trying to see what teams it has. Did it not give me any teams? Oh yeah. So here's the great thing about everything here. Every team is ranked number one in RPI. Just starting out, right? Ranked number one in RPI. LSU's first game is going to be against Charlotte on February 7th. So we have to kind of talk about it here a little bit. It's called Tiger Classic. Classic. Charlotte, Central Arkansas, Charlotte again, Central Arkansas, and Southeastern Louisiana. I think the Tigers take care of business against all these games here. I think they will pick up some wins here. So that is something that is looking forward to here as we go further down the list here. So actually, Warren Nolan does not have this updated like I thought it would. Okay, so that's interesting. But yeah, like I said, I'm waiting on Juice to send stuff here. But look, Tigers are ranked across all four polls. Uh, looking at it that way. So it's gonna be fun. A fun season for LSU softball here. I think they will do very well this year here. Once they get done with the Tiger Classic, you have the Purple and Gold Challenge, which is UT Arlington, Northwestern, Virginia Tech, Penn State, Southern Miss, Nichols. Or is this all in the same one? That's interesting. LSU Invitational. Okay, it's not a part of the Classic. Okay. The Purple and Gold Challenge, I mean. UT Arlington, Northwestern, Virginia Tech. But yeah, you're gonna have some high quality programs like name recognition program like Penn State coming to Tiger Park and stuff on a Friday and that regard there. So then UCLA, the Garmin class. That's another one that Tiger fans are gonna be watching very closely on the road. uh, in Fullerton, California, playing against UCLA, Cal State Fullerton that way too. Utah, then Notre Dame. So LSU's playing a pretty nice gauntlet, like Minnesota. Then they got the Cajuns in Baton Rouge, Kentucky. When they kick off SEC play. And then they play the Cajuns again at Lansing Park. So it's going to be an interesting game for sure. Then McNeese, Alabama, Louisiana Tech. So how well the Cajuns do? I mean, not the Cajuns, the LSU Tigers will do. They got Texas later on this year. Texas is kind of a new one for everybody because Texas is in the SEC this year. So Texas, it's gonna be interesting to see here. I do think the Tigers will finish in the top 10 this year in softball. I just like the way their roster looks this year. So that is something that we can kind of rely on here. So here's the four polls that the Tigers are currently ranked in right now. USA Softball number 9, UFCA number 10, D1 Softball 11, Softball America got them at 12 as well here. So Bearzon and Coffee are named to the USA Softball top 53, the watch list here. Sydney Bearzon and Danica Coffee are, in a total of 23 SEC players on the USA Softball top 53 watch list for the 2025 USA Softball Player of the Year award. So, like I said, and I've said this before, since last year, SEC probably has the deepest pool of softball talent in the country here, especially this year, with additions like Oklahoma and Texas here. So I was kind of curious to see, can Oklahoma run the table again this year and win a national title in softball? They know they're a dynasty. They've been so dominant for so long here. I can understand why the Cajuns themselves, they lost their pitcher Sam Landry to Oklahoma this past year, which I mean she wants to go win a national title. I mean that's why they come to you want to win the title. That's just the way the name of the game here now. So. Um, Sydney Bearzon, that's her second time making that list there too as well. And Coffee made her first appearance on that USA Collegiate Player of the Year. So that is something we have to look forward to here. I think that the way the encompassing the schedule and stuff, it's going to be one of those that we're just going to see here. They have a lot of non-conference games for LSU softball that I think will help them later on in the season whenever you get into tournament play. And that was one thing that, I know I brought up the Cajuns earlier, but Gary Glasgow was talking about like with the Cajuns being in one of the G5 conferences for softball. I mean, like just G5 conference in general, because I know if I'm talking to the Power Four fan base that y'all gonna understand what I'm talking about here. But I need to have high caliber opponents because they're not going to give me a host spot for the regionals, which it didn't work out for the Cajuns anyway. They got bounced out of the regionals by Baylor, but still, that was the whole point of playing it. It's supposed to make you better whenever you get into postseason play, playing this tougher opponents. That way, whenever kind of same thing with basketball, a really tough non-conference schedule can really help you whenever it comes down to your conference tournament time or conference play into the NCAA tournament. So that is something that we're going to have to look at and see how everything goes ahead here. So I think with all regards to that though, we got a lot going on here. We're gonna have a lot to talk about here, and I'm bouncing all over the place. You'll just have to stay with me here because we're covering women's basketball, men's basketball, and softball. Then we're gonna have baseball, another monster added to the list here. So, just trying to keep everything on tabs on everybody here and just see here. But I do think this is gonna be a very good season for LSU softball. I'm really looking forward to it this year here. They did make the Super Regionals last year. That's where they stopped at last year. So can they make it back to the Women's College World Series? That remains to be seen for this year. So, but yeah, I'm excited that the ball and stick sports are back here. So, um, we'll see what happens here with LSU softball. So, thank you for tuning in here to the Fishbowl Radio. Hope you have a great and wonderful night, and I'm gonna see you all here next time on the Fishbowl Radio. Have a good night, Fishbowl Nation.